G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a SIG MCX Shrike, yet another MCX variant. This thing in real life fires the 300 blackout rounds, as you can see on the magazine, but it has been down-chambered into the 5.56 rounds for this mod for vanilla game use and just ease of use in general, which is a big tick, a big thumbs up for me. That's okay, that's fine. Perhaps there might be some people that really like this thing to be firing some sort of 300 blackout round, and there's maybe a munitions patch to make it actually fire those rounds, but I think using the 5.56 just makes it all round easy to use, so that's not a problem for me. So this thing is really on the basic side of tactical Fallout modding. For a modern weapon, this thing doesn't really have a whole lot going on with it, so this is going to be a short and simple one for the attachment section at least, until we get into gameplay. Then we can talk about what this thing does like when it's shooting. Anyway, so the receiver, it's automatic, and then we can't do anything else with that. We've got a legendary effect provided by legendary modification. We'll leave that off. And you can have a vertical grip at the bottom of the handguard there, so make it easier to handle or something. Next, we've got the sights. You can have SIG irons. You can have a 4T, that looks like a cool reflex sight. There's also a magnifier option for up or down, which is cool. It gives you a 3x zoom, which is nice. We'll just go for a standard reflex sight on this one, and let's move on to the magazine. You've got a PMag, and the PMag with an alternate reload. So I can't really show you these things on a workbench, but we'll experiment with both of these magazine options to observe what reloads we get out of them. You can't do anything with the pistol grip, so we'll move on. Handguard, can't change that either. That is the Shrike handguard, which is that got something to do with this thing being a Shrike? Who knows? Next, we've got the stock, which you can't do anything with, and you can have a flashlight on the upper rail if you feel like it. Nice and tactical, not over the top. And you can have a G10 XOS matrix, which covers the rails there, the extra little cover pieces on the handguard there. Perhaps extra safety if you're firing this thing full auto and don't want to burn your fingers and you can't be bothered wearing a glove. And for your muzzle, you've got an inbuilt suppressor on this thing, and you can't do anything to remove it. So loud and proud is not the idea with this thing. It's going to be nice and stealthy. Now, reflecting this thing's use of the 300 blackout rounds in real life, I'm going to pump this thing's damage up to plus 40%, 147 damage. It's not too much, but still it's going to have a little bit more punch than your standard assault rifle, which I think would reflect the ammunition this thing would be firing in real life. And that is it for the Shrike, a pretty simple rundown there, but we're going to create a couple other variants of this and see if we can use it for different applications. But I think the main thing is going to be close quarters or set up to medium range, superior firepower and accuracy. A lot better than whatever crap guns that I've been using recently in Fallout London. This is going to be a breath of fresh air, and it might skew my opinions towards this mod to be way more positive than they would usually if I hadn't been playing Fallout London for so long. But my god, the gunplay in that mod, ugh. Just go big leagues and don't worry about picking up guns or ammunition. It's a waste of time. Anyways, let's shoot things in the Commonwealth, in America, where guns are good guns. Guns with no terrible spread. It's one wonderful time to be alive. The Shrike can be crafted on a chemistry workbench. Find Valdrift SIG MCX Shrike, and for some aluminum, plastic, screw, spring, and steel, gun nut rank 4, you can craft this. Probably not the most immersive way to get this weapon, but I don't mind. And we're finally back at Immersive Gunners Plaza. Here is our SIG Shrike in first person, aiming down the reflex sight there. You get a little bit of a circle, and a cross in the middle of that feels like a pretty precise sight indeed. If you can control the recoil, this thing is going to put bullets exactly where the sight is in general, which is really good. We like seeing that. Here's a iron sight variant of this one, just in case you like seeing the iron sights on your rifles. And lastly, we've got sniper status version with that 3x scope on it, or the 3x magnifier on the reflex scope sight, which is cool. Take a quick look in third person. You'll notice this thing doesn't have the foregrip. You hold it on the handguard. The foregrip gets held accordingly like that, and of course, the flashlight does work. Obviously, during the day, its usage is limited, unless we go into like a super dark area where there might be feral ghouls lurking around the corner. Then you can use it there. And let me tell you something, it's really good to be back in Fallout 4 proper this time, and not in Fallout London, because playing like this, just going up to the gunners and shooting them for kicks, I feel like the tone of Fallout has sort of gotten away from me. We're on a sort of a power fantasy here, where, you just rock up and kill like a legion of gunners single-handedly, but you go into Fallout London and things are a little bit tougher. The atmosphere is dark and gritty. Everything's out to kill ya. It's like Australia, actually, so you think I'd be a little bit more used to it. But no, we're back in Fallout 4, and we get Collingwood scarves in this game. If you're wondering what that scarf means, wow.
See the barricades are shouting, as all barricades should. All the premierships are king.
So all of that Collingwood nothingness aside, let's begin. And I suppose we'll start shooting these guys with our reflex sight with the magnifier. And you'll notice that I'm only getting 3.9 times sneak criticals and not 4.4. So despite this thing having a suppressor in name, well, I'm not getting the bonuses for it. And I'm fairly certain I've got all the perks where they need to be. So we'll probably get detected as soon as they get close enough to actually see me. So let's try to make that not happen. We'll add a critical into the mix there. Almost killed her in one crit, which is good. Plenty of power behind this one. I feel like the balancing factor here being the 30-round magazine, it's going to be a little bit more difficult than just pushing these guys over. Although we're still getting sneak criticals, which is helpful. Just throw some criticals down range in that direction. And why not a little bit of gun through? We're not getting our full measure of damage thanks to the fact that we're, you know, not an optimal range, but still. Added some criticals in the mix, and we're still laughing. Perhaps this thing is still rated as silent? Or at least quiet, because these guys are not finding me. There we go. Now the fight really begins. We've got a good head start on these guys, so I'm not going to be super worried about... Oh, radial blur's back on. Great. Anyways, bullet time. I missed this. Instinctively, I'll reach for the bullet time button in Fallout London and it'll come up with nothing. It's like, oh, I gotta use actual bats here, which is not good. Anyway, so you notice the longer reloads are different. If I expend the magazine, there's a little bit of an extra slap on it. Love that. That's the tactical reload happening. Very immersive, right? It's one of those things I could take it or leave it. I appreciate it when it's there. And, you know, it's all tactical and cool, and you can all pretend this is Call of Duty. But yeah, so far so good. Not having real problems with this thing at all. Perhaps the mag capacity again might be the only thing that's sort of limiting my outrageous DPS. And now that we are in range, that's a frag grenade. Try to blow that up before it gets to me. Nope. It got there. And I'm currently on fire, and hard to see when you're on fire. Luckily, we've cooled off by now, and we can get back into shooting these guys. He's throwing another grenade. Crit him. Make sure that doesn't happen. So one of these guys, they've got a laser gun that sets you on fire, and it's doing a pretty good job. Luckily, he's been taken care of now, and the plasma gun doesn't ignite me. They're just really grenade happy, these guys. I'm glad they're throwing frags and not, you know, non-lethal ones like what do you call them? The flashbang grenades, because they actually disorient you. They make you do a cool animation, but yeah, the frag grenades, we can just walk those one off a little bit easier. Almost time to get into nerd rage at this stage, so we'll make sure we get... Try to make use of that. There's the bashing animation, by the way. That did a whole lot of damage. I think it's because nerd rage is currently active, so why don't we just beat these next few gunners to death. Who have we got here? Totally missed that one. Went a little bit too early. Okay, not as effective. Must have rolled 2 lucky crits in a row. Alright. And with that, we are left with just a couple of gunners in here. So let's sort these guys out. We can move on. Whoops, forgot to do the slow motion Call of Duty door breach maneuver. You don't see firepower quite like this in Fallout London, I'll tell you that much. It makes the game very difficult when I can't effectively fight back. But again, that's just me. That's just my gameplay of shooting everything that moves. Perhaps you're not supposed to do that in Fallout, and I've been doing it wrong for the entire time. Anyways, we'll clear out these stragglers and then we can radio in, say Gunners Plaza secure, at least the outside. I meant to miss over and over, don't worry. Alrighty, so there you go. The SIG Shrike has shown its colors there, and it did pretty well, so really nothing to complain about there. You could argue that there could be more room for attachments or at least additions to this thing, but there's already a bunch of MCX mods out there already that would allow you to do that, so this one, I think it's fine. The direction here isn't too overbearing in its tacticalness, so I think this is a less is more approach, and I think it's actually working out pretty well. Okay, looks like Swan's picked up a gang of Rust Devils to play with, so in the meantime, whilst he's fighting them, we'll shoot that Super Mutant, and we'll get started on this lot over here. Also, tactical leaning mods. I've been pressing those buttons in Fallout London as well, and they ain't doing shit. I'm trying to lean around corners, and I gotta use like the vanilla game version of that, which, you know, doesn't work on all surfaces. I don't even think it'll work on this surface, so that's been a little bit of a hurdle to deal with. Then again, I think playing as way over-leveled characters has made me a little bit soft in terms of how I approach combat situations, really not thinking about it. I just run in guns blazing, and usually the job gets done. Okay, now we can get sneak criticals, so we'll lay into them as much as possible, and if we can get a couple of extra VATS criticals along with that. Actually, what I could do is really got through that quickly. Those crits didn't last very long. We're missing out another 0.5 damage on the multipliers here, but even still, we can backpedal away and still do a pretty good job at taking him out. I gotta say that I still think this thing is rated as quiet and not exactly silent, so we're probably missing a few keywords to actually tell you that it's got the suppressor. So again, missing ace operator, so we could be getting a little bit even more damage out of this thing, but still, that was 2 crits in one. Did you see that? Very nice. So now we just sort of duck and weave around the trees, and hopefully he doesn't throw rocks at me, and then do that. Yeah, that's helpful. Missed that one. Is it wise to eat up all my AP on really rough shots? Probably not, but still. Him pathing into a tree is going to make my job pretty easy. Ow. At the bare minimum, he could activate Nerd Rage again, and then that would make my job easier. Oof, that was 1 hit. That was not good. 1 hit for the crit. Keep those crits a-rolling. And by the time this comes in, hopefully... No, not quite. Okay, we'll switch guns now before he pulls out that rock, maybe. And quickly dodge out of the way of that one. And just barely survive that. Perhaps went a little bit too aggressive there. Didn't take as much advantage from the sneak criticals at the start. But the job is done. And we get a... what? A mighty minigun for our troubles. Ooh, that's a Fallout 3 New Vegas minigun. That's cool. Anyways, so that's it for the Swan. Let's move on to the next thing, and then we'll see how we go. Something a little bit faster might challenge me a little bit more. Okay, let's play this a little bit more stealthy than usual. And already I'm being charged at. Let me just slow down time a little bit here. Many headshots later, we have done a little bit of damage, and we just dodge out of the way of that. Wow, that was interesting. This is the moment where I gotta get my reflexes up on point, because this guy is going to make it very difficult for me. If I'm already hitting him for 60s, I don't know, that might cause problems in terms of our damage. Ooh, that was a nice hit. Still, could be worse. Crit. Now we can't survive another hit, so this might go down to a wire here. Although, probably should switch over to something a little bit more suited to closer range. I don't think the 3-time scope is doing too much for me. We've also got a little bit of a moment and some AP. Need to start shoot up. I hit him in the head. Commander with that slight stagger chance doing us pretty well. Ah, Mysterious Stranger. Perfect. So he's going to deal so much damage to him. He might unload his entire revolver into him. I gotta say that the Mysterious Stranger is so much stronger with this Bat's Bullet Time mod. So am I guess, but still, I think you get the idea with this. So, a little bit more of a return to basics, a little bit more of a ease back into the tactical side of Fallout 4 after struggling in Fallout London for so long. But yeah, it's good to use actual weaponry again, and there's some good... Ooh, the sights are a little bit off. Should be able to change that. There we go. That's just a bug in Fallout 4 in general. There's nothing the mod can be blamed for that. But anyways, that there was the SIG Shrike. So a little bit more on the basic side, but again, not overbearing, less is more and all of that. So worth a download if you are interested in this thing. But there are more comprehensive mods for the SIG Spear, for example. I believe that is the US military adopted version of this particular rifle, or at least proposed replacer for like the M4. But that's a little bit more extensive, a little bit more on the tactical side. So if that's more your speed, then go ahead and download that one. But this one, for basic, as you know, basic as it might seem, I think the approach here is fine and it's okay. So if you want a little bit less MCX in your game than some of the other more tactical mods, then this is the one for you. So go ahead and download it if you feel like it. Link will be in the description. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And honestly, for a mod like this, there's an argument that it could be ported over for Xbox with no real problems, because the mod itself is only 200 megabytes. Compressed textures another couple of thousand pixels worth, and then you've got a mod that could easily be put over on the lesser hardware of the consoles these days. So worth thinking about. Hopefully the mod does that at some point. Maybe they've already done it. But anyways, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Go Pies. Fuck Carlton.